Hello, everyone. My name is Roopa Sunku, and I'm the Chief Evangelist here at Touch a Life Foundation. I'm super excited to talk to Rohit Chowdhry and share some of his work or how he's gotten to where he is. And we have just initiated a new series called Career Elevations. And I hope to inspire you as much as I was talking to Rohit. Welcome, Rohit. Really excited to have you on this call.
Hi, Rupa. I'm equally excited.
Perfect. So, Rohit, often enough, we look at different people that we interact with either in life or at work and see them at a particular status and a particular position that they have reached in their life, be it a personal accomplishment, be it accomplishment of creating your own business or some innovation, or working for a corporation and leading a very large organization. And I hope to be able to share with people what made you go to where you are. And having shared a little background of what I want to look at and receive some input from you, please tell me where you're working, what you're doing today.
Thanks, Rupa. Thanks a lot for inviting me to this forum. I work for a large multinational company in India. It's a global organization. It's a large professional services firm. My job is primarily to help our network of firms across the world to be able to leverage the cost benefit by offshoring operations to India. And for the last several years, that's been my focus area.
All right. So what made you or what drew you to this current position? And what are some of the passions that made you sought out for this position? Hoping and I'm assured that you are enjoying what you're doing, and that's why you are part of this organization currently.
Absolutely. Thanks for asking that. I think over the last 30 years of my work life, I started primarily for the first 5 years, I was a frontline sales professional, selling IT solutions to various organizations. And slowly got into setting up teams and setting up operations in the IT area. And that brought me slowly into building relationships with stakeholders. I realized at some point of time, midway through my career, around 10, 15 years, that is my strength. And it is not about me being a salesperson or a marketing person or an IT person, but it was about building relationships with stakeholders, understanding their needs, and doing my best with teams to fulfill those needs. And I have been gravitating towards those roles in the later part of my career. And for the last 15 to 18 years, I would say, my job has been to work with people, understand their needs, and deliver according to those needs. So that's where I am. My strengths are in connecting with stakeholders, building relationships, and taking things forward.
Excellent. It's just so exciting to hear you say that you started off as a traditional salesperson, but then gravitated towards operations. And the key piece that you highlight is building those strategic relationships and delivering value to those relations that you build. So that's fantastic. So it intrigues me to know whether and what you did as your academic starting point to initiate the sales job initially.
Okay, that's quite an interesting story. I finished my bachelor's in commerce and went to a chartered accountant, family friend, to actually become a chartered accountant. And to become an articleship clerk was the starting point. And he asked me a question. He said, what percentage are you expecting in your commerce? I said, obviously at that time, 1990, I said, first class. I mean, that's how
Right.
he would put forward things. And he said, okay, sure, you've just gone through the exam, take a month's break, come back with your marks memo, and then we'll start off. So I had a month at hand and I was wondering what I should do. So I enrolled for a computer course. And that's how my awareness on computers started. And I got into a summer job at the same institute that I was taking the course. And I did well at that summer job. I got an offer for a full-time job. in the sales, and that's how my sales career started. So the education piece actually, formal classroom based, campus based, stopped with the BCom that I did. But subsequently, I did my master's in commerce and then an MBA from Open University.
Fantastic, fantastic. This kind of makes me think about my own journey itself, Rohit. And I started off, thinking I'm never going to work. I'm going to be a person who takes care of the home, enjoys being able to take care of the family. And I did my college degree in psychology, English, and journalism. And now here today, I'm leading a fairly large group globally for Oracle in their application space. So very
That's
similar. You kind of land up or end up trying something out just for fun, and that becomes your career is sort of common to both you and I. That's fantastic.
that's
All right.
wonderful to hear.
Absolutely. It's almost you've walked onto a land that you own now and feel accomplished, even though that was probably not the trajectory when you start off academically. And that's the beauty of the global economy, as it were, today. And that's not something that a doctor can do, a nurse can do, probably, because they all are trained to be able to do their profession, specialize in their professions, while engineering, sales, marketing, consulting, and all of those career paths definitely weave based on what you feel good about doing and where you've landed overall. So what do you think was your motivation or your support system to get adventurous and try something new? Or was it more of exposure to what you've landed on with computers and sales, or was it a default of the ecosystem around you?
Thanks for asking me that, Rupa. I think from the beginning of my career, I seem to have chosen areas which were putting me out of my comfort zone. I really thrive on being out of my comfort zone. And the sales job or the summer job that I had actually picked up at that point of time was to just be out of my comfort zone, go out there, understand what's happening, meet people, look at what opportunities are there. And that's when I think when I look back, I realized that I was not selling anything. I was just building relationships, and that really took me forward. And I was never selling anything. And people talk about going for networking dinners and lunches and stuff like that. I have always thought that you go to these places to meet people, not necessarily to build a contact or talk to that person subsequently about business. So I've always been to such places, met a few people, not many, and tried to build some good connects over there rather than work on volumes and trying to meet hundreds of people. So I think being out of my comfort zone has really been helpful to me. Somebody asked me a few years back, what are you afraid of? Uh, People talk about lizards or cockroaches and some other things. And I said, I'm afraid of dancing. But in many on many occasions at my workplace, I have performed in front of audiences like 100, 200, a few thousands on various occasions. And I think it's all about preparing for certain things, doing those, and delivering beyond what you would expect. And I've sometimes been surprised by myself, and I look at people and talk to them, and help share that experience with them, saying, "Look, sometimes you can do more than what you think you can do." For example, you go to the gym. The gym instructor asks you to do certain things 20 times. You have done that 20 times, and then they ask you to do it again for 20 times, and you think you will stop at 10. If you had a choice, probably you would stop at 10, but that person doesn't allow you to stop at 10. They help you move outside of that comfort zone and deliver more than what you think you can do. So I think the only message on that element I would like to share with our audience is that our mind and body is capable of doing much more than what we think we can do. And trying to be
Absolutely.
of our comfort zone helps you realize that.
Fantastic. Interestingly, you bring out the piece of being out of your comfort zone or out of the box thinking. What were the influences? Or obviously, you didn't know to apply for a sales position at this computer company for the summer. You obviously either had proximity to that organization, or somebody else within your friend circle or your family circle were part of a similar ecosystem. What was the igniter, if I were to ask, to even consider moving into sales when your academic background was commerce?
Yeah, so coincidentally, it's my sister, I would say. She and I are almost the same age. It's a 1.5 year gap. She's younger to me by 1.5 years, and we were at that point of time doing the BCom together. And we used to keep discussing about what's the next step and what should we do. And we just realized that computers was brand new at that point of time. You could see computers only in airline booking offices or railway reservation counter. And I mean, when I visited companies in way back in 1990, there used to be a small room, air conditioned. You have to leave your
Yes.
footwear out, and you just meet one person who's sitting with a huge dot matrix printer and a small computer. It was like a temple in the office. And when I was discussing about future steps with my sister, I think we together realized that getting an understanding of IT would be helpful. I didn't realize at that time it's not just about understanding IT, but I was getting into full-fledged IT. But IT at that point of time was a separate, like I said, a separate room. Today, it's integral part of our life, and I think that's the success of technology. We use it just seamlessly. We don't even realize we're using it sometimes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Over the weekend, I had a family member visit me who has done her PhD in AI and the electrical energy circuits being reusable and the different forms of energy creation in the system and the grid. And what she got me thinking was that academics and research is one aspect of kind of learning, similar to yours, where you did commerce and was looking to go the traditional path of a chartered accountant, while you tried out something different during the summer. So similarly with this family member, she's doing the research and activity in the academia, but her intent is to be able to create her own nonprofit organization and run that to probably a profit company down the line. So again, here it is not sticking to the traditional path, going back to your term of thinking out of the box or doing something that you're out of your comfort zone and being able to pursue it. Do you believe that this is the only way to progress a career, or is it the traditional academic to job, 1:1 mapping kind of thing is the only way? Or is it also the social and the interaction element that plays into either one of these choices to be able to make a successful career for yourself?
Yeah, that's quite a elaborate topic, I would say. In fact, I did write a book during the COVID phase and got it released, but I'll talk about it sometime later or after some time. But I think the key point over there is for some people, they have clarity while they're children. For some people, when they're in their like 8th grade or 9th grade or even 10th standard, they know exactly what they want to do. I know a few friends of mine, classmates of mine, who knew they wanted to become a doctor because they had certain experiences in life at that childhood stage that pushed them to take up that sort of career at a certain point. I mean, very clearly, that particular friend of mine used to say, after my 10th, I'm going to pick up biology and physics and the other elements and appear for the MBBS entrance exam and do that. So he had a lot of clarity, and there are some others like that who want to join the defense or do certain things, and they have that clarity. For some others, it's a trial and error.
Mhm.
They do certain things because they think that's the right thing at that point of time, or their friends are doing it, or there's peer pressure, or there's family pressure. A
Mhm.
lot of times I've gone to colleges, campuses, talked to a lot of engineering students. A few of them have responded, and I said, "Why are you doing this particular stream of engineering?" And that person said, "Because my parents want me to do it." I mean, so children, people who are doing certain things because of their environment and family and friends and colleagues will probably start on the wrong route, but at some point will realize that's not the right path for them and switch paths or transition to where they want to go. And some others who know early in life what they really want to do will be very clear, and they'll pick and choose avenues which take them straight to that area that they are passionate about. So I think if we can have a mechanism by which early in one's life we can help somebody realize what is their longer term interest. And I'm using some softer words, but I want to move towards the word, what is the purpose of life?
Right.
And it's obviously not possible to think about purpose of life when you are just 15-year-old, but you definitely can think of what is your interest, what do you want to do, what gives you satisfaction, what gives you enjoyment in life, and pursue careers or paths which actually engage you on areas that you are really happy doing. And I
Exactly.
think as we do more and more those sort of things as we grow older, it gives us immense pleasure and satisfaction in life. And I think the earlier somebody realizes what is their purpose or their longer term objective, then you can choose on training programs, on courses, on formal education, on experiences, on jobs, on assignments, on part time jobs, or even internships based on that clarity. And then it takes you in the right direction, and you don't have to look back or you don't have to switch, because the distance between the lines, if you just imagine a path that somebody is going, and if that is the wrong path and it is you're diverging from it by 10 degrees, then a few kilometers ahead you can still go back to the original path. The distance is not going to be long, but once you have traveled about 100 kilometers, this distance is going to be too long to shift. And not that it is not possible, but it becomes a difficult journey. Sometimes financial issues compel people not to make the shift to areas that they want to, or sometimes family situations or various other situations hold them back, and they just have to continue in the areas that they chose. So I think, just to summarize, trying to identify what is one's longer term goal early in life and then making choices in tune with that, I think is the way to a more purposeful and a more satisfying life.
Very well said. And I think I draw on three words that you mentioned that I believe in as well. Make sure you do what is fun to do. Don't feel stuck in your job, and look around, change it, try, intern, play around, interviewing few folks around you to be able to see what other options you have to make you happy. And thirdly, make those choices in the initial years so then you can stabilize and confirm what you feel is the right path for you, and you will be able to kind of build and grow within that role of choice or the job of choice and career of choice. So thank you so much, Rohit. That was just wonderful words of wisdom, and it was beautiful to see your journey to where you are. And I just like to say thank you. And if you'd like to leave a last message to the listeners, that would be fantastic.
Yes, I just talked about a book that I wrote during the COVID. I was inspired because this thought about how can you understand what you want to do early in life was around me in the early stage of COVID, and I was able to complete the book during the COVID and publish it last year. So the book is
Fantastic.
titled,
Congratulations.
thank you very much. The book is titled How to Get into Your Goldilocks Zone. So
Nice.
if you would have, I mean, all of us would have heard about the Goldilocks story where the girl loses her way and goes into the jungle and then goes into a house of three bears, and then she tastes the porridge bowls. One is very hot, the other is hot, but she can't eat it. The third one is just the right temperature for her to finish it off. So
Mm-hmm.
the Goldilocks phrase was picked up from there to even denote our planet Earth, which is at the right position in the solar system, just enough warmth and the coldness of the position for life to survive. So if it would have been closer to the sun, would have probably been no life, and if it was farther away, there would have been all everything frozen. So how do we identify for ourselves what is our Goldilocks zone where we can consciously create an environment which is in tune with our interests, passions, skills, and then consciously work towards accomplishing that. So the book is all about that. It has 5 steps where one can lead towards that. So I'm not promoting the book, but I think that's a synopsis of why I think it's important to early identification of one's passion, purpose, and then move in that direction in a properly structured fashion. We attend a lot of these training programs, seminars, conferences, and we have this aha moment at that point of time. The
Mm-hmm.
moment we come out or after the weekend, we are back to schedules at office or other assignments. But we need to take some time for ourselves and ponder on what do we want to do with our life, and then make certain choices. Sometimes it is late, but once you have realized what you want to do, it's a conscious decision to make a change. So
Excellent.
that's all I want to share towards the end of this.
Absolutely. On that note, once again, thank you, listeners, for being with us. And I am sure you were mesmerized, if not more, with what Rohit has shared of his own journey and the book that he has written to kind of find your Goldilocks moments in a very structured, step by step fashion. So hopefully, this has inspired you, and hope to have you come back and listen to us more and more as I introduce to you various people with different facets and different parts of their experiences being shared back with you. Thank you once again, Rohit.
Okay, Rupa, thank you very much.